pros, don't know the cons, forget the why.
Hey guys, welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. If you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this podversation. So, yeah, we all know what's been going on for the past almost, 48 hours at this point in time. Diddy's three of them, shall we say, because he probably has more, have been raided by Homeland Security. And I'm just going to start off by saying I 100% believe that he was tipped off. This all stems, I believe, not from really Cassie's lawsuit, not saying that the investigations did not begin there. I believe that definitely there were some things that started there, and we do know Cassie named some names. She name dropped. But Rodney, who goes by Lil Rod, which I have a link to that lawsuit in the description box because it is lengthy, he has images, screenshots, video stills, and definitely names, locations. It's intense. And yes, Cassie's was too. I believe both combined, but I believe that the dropping in on the homes by Homeland Security, I believe it stems from this lawsuit that Rodney Jones filed. And not only that, do you all remember the victim of the gunfire? I'm just going to put it like that happened at the nightclub years ago when Sean Combs was with J-Lo and Shine. Remember that victim? And she came out and she shared some things, and she actually said that it was him that was the one that had the weapon in his hand, and he was the one that did it. It was not Shine. It was not anybody else. Remember what she said?
Hey, how you doing? So, here today about this latest lawsuit with the P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs, whatever you want to call them, lawsuit that has come out involving the producer Lil Rod. So basically his last two major lawsuits, the one with Cassie, she made mention that Puffy made her carry his guns into nightclubs and wherever they went. And he threatened her to make her feel like she had to do so. And while there were lots of things of importance, that stood out to me. And I'm going to tell you why. In this lawsuit with the producer Lil Rod, they were both SA'd by him and threatened and physically harmed. But in this lawsuit, he appears to be a very young producer to me. But he said something very specific. As a means of threatening him, Puffy said, "That's why I shot up the club in New York back in 1999 and let Shine take the fall for it." Let me tell you why that's of utmost importance to me. Because I am the woman who he shot in the face in that 1999, December 27th, 1999, Club New York shooting. I have told everyone ad nauseum since then, even the surgeon who did the surgery, to take the bullet. I got shot in my face with a 9 millimeter hollow point bullet called a cop killer. I literally have told everyone and never changed what I said. I watched him. I got pow-powed in the face. I watched him fire the gun. I've said it all this time. Even the surgeon who did my surgery to take out part of the bullet fragments that was aspirating into my lungs, and try to remove as many bullet fragments as possible, testified in the criminal trial that while they were putting me under, I was screaming, Puffy, pew pew me in the face. He testified in the criminal trial. It is in the record. They all knew he did it. Everybody knew he did it. But he paid off the club bouncer named Sharice and all these other people and the club owners with their video to hide the video. That's his MO. I told everybody that. This man almost took my life, has traumatized my life, has caused undue harm, irreparable damage to my life, lied his behind off. I've had all these youngins on the internet harassing me, swearing that I'm making it up that he did it. And look what he did to Little Rod. He threatened him. Oh, you don't think I bust my gun? I shot up the club in Club New York and let Shine take the fall for it. I shot them people. Well. It only took 24 whole years for it to come out. You see this tattoo? This commemorates me getting shot. It took 24 years for him to come out and say it. I've been saying it all along, but y'all pick and choose who y'all want to believe. Oh, baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Not only did he pew me in the face, he also set off a course of harassment against me for the past 24 years. When I tell you the things I went through, there was a time in 2017 and 2018 where I got 7 flats on my BMW. 7, the same tire, in a 2-year span. 7 on the same tire, and they were all new. Every time it happened, I had to get a new tire. I have the pictures to prove it. Harassing me. You want to know why? Because prior to Cassie, I was the only person to be victimized by him and then to successfully sue him and get paid. And he had to pay me out of his pocket. He has never gotten over that. Oh, baby. You see this RICO charge that's about to come? This conspiring and pew-pewing up the club and ruining or attempting to ruin my life? As God as my witness, I will not stop until you suffer every single iota of punishment, until I have every second of recompense that you took from me. For every tear that I had to cry or my children had to cry, I am going to get $1 million back from you. I will not stop until you pay the price for what you did to my life. And for all you people out there on the internet and in cyberspace and in the far reaches of my life or the perimeters or wherever who always like, oh, she just saying that to get some. Hell, what you got to say now? What you got to say now?
Well, unfortunately, there's still some whack jobs out here that are defending him or trying to say there are multiple sides to a story or this is a witch hunt. But you heard her say the RICO. I don't know if anybody really caught that when she made that statement, but I did. I definitely did catch it. I definitely caught it. And when this news came out that his homes were raided, it wasn't a shock to me. I know a lot of people were going live. They were, sharing lots of information for hours, and that's cool. Not knocking it. I listened to some of it, but it just wasn't a huge shock to me. And so to have his attorney come out to try to cry victim to say that this was a witch hunt, to me, the witch hunt phrase after hearing former president 45 utter that over and over and over again, the term witch hunt to me now means justified, because they try to flip the script and make it seem like they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So his lawyer is slamming the investigation as a witch hunt and says the feds use excessive show of force in, quote, ambush. So, it's just ridiculous. Thankfully, I've never been through a home raid, but from what I've seen, raids on residences are rarely them coming in like they're house cleaners, right? And sometimes they're tearing out walls and ceilings and floors. I've seen footage of it. Like, go and Google some things. And so having papers tossed aside, teddy bears, equipment, or whatever that's strewn about the place, and they didn't organize things to put it back. First of all, they're never going to do that. Okay. But after Homeland Security raided the mega mansions that he has in LA, Miami, his attorney released a statement to Page 6 calling it a witch hunt. Yesterday, there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences. There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. First of all, Homeland Security is military force, okay? Homeland Security, you actually can just call them military on the home base. Like, you can actually equate them to the military reserves, if you will. So that is just ridiculous. And two, when they go in because they have been tipped off by people, and they pretty much have proof, and they're going in knowing what they are looking for, not knowing if it's still there. But they have to treat everyone on the premises as if they may be armed and dangerous. Okay? So that's just that. So them handcuffing his children or whoever was there was to prevent these people who were there from reacting out of emotions or fear or possible guilt. So that's why they go in with head coverings and body gear and weapons drawn, because they are going in with knowledge of what they are looking for. This is not a reality show where they're doing this for clicks and views for a YouTube channel or Facebook or whatever social media platform. So that's just absolutely ridiculous. The story continues. His attorney also said Mr. Combs was never detained, but spoke to and cooperated with authorities. Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way. Not yet. Sources told Page 6 that Combs, 54, and his team did not see it coming, as that he was preparing to vacation in the Bahamas with his children for spring break. Okay, well, I believe he was tipped off. The fact that he wasn't there, but the children were, I believe he was tipped off. The story continues. The media knew before him, as there were already helicopters there. This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced, coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. And see, that's the issue, because I feel that a lot of people don't take civil courts as serious as criminal courts. It's still a lot of things that were alleged in these civil lawsuits that ultimately can lead to criminal charges. This is something that I said a while ago. And if you look at the I Believe I Can Fly singer situation, a lot of what happened stems from civil complaints and civil litigation and people putting stories out there that led to criminal investigations and ultimately criminal charges and convictions. So he's jumping the gun, but he's doing his job. I get it. You're his attorney. You're on retainer. You're looking for more retainer, and you probably got it. So you're out here and you're making these claims on behalf of your client to just make it seem like there's nothing to see here. Move along, keep it moving, sweep around your own front door. But the things that Rodney Jones alleged in that lawsuit, oh my gosh. And so when this woman came out and made this statement on TikTok, like I said, if you heard what she mentioned about the RICO that's coming, she didn't come out and say that after Cassie's lawsuit and 24-hour settlement. Okay. She came out and said that after Rodney Jones's lawsuit was put out in the public atmosphere. And now here, Homeland Security has landed on 3 of his properties to search and look for what they believe they already know they are supposed to be looking for. They're not just going in, breezing through the place to say, maybe we'll find something. Homeland Security went to Mar-a-Lago. They knew what they were looking for and they got it. I don't know if they got what they were looking for when they went to 3 of his residences, but they knew what they were looking for. Period. A source close to the situation described the scene as including lasers pointed on his son's heads, faces, and hearts while they were handcuffed and escorted outside. The source further claimed that Combs' sons were not fully dressed and painted a scene of terror in which rifles were drawn. I don't feel sorry for them. And you know why? Because Google stories of people living in the hood, low income areas and whatever, grandmothers that just got out of the shower and the police coming in looking for a grandson or a nephew or whatever. And they're not giving any grace to those people. And I'm not saying that they didn't deserve grace. I'm not saying that they didn't deserve grace, but a lot of those their homes were literally destroyed when these people came in looking for what they're looking for. So this story that they're putting out there, it's like we're supposed to have sympathy for the mogul and his minions. I'll say minions, but we know ultimately his children and whoever else that he had there. But I believe that he was tipped off, and even more so now, because when the attorney put this statement out to say that he has been cooperating with them, do you not think that somebody didn't tip him off? When Cassie's lawsuit came out, she made mention of how she had made complaints and tried to, and there were people that were in his pocket. They were getting paid off. So do you not believe that there wasn't somebody that was in his pocket that tipped him off to say, hey, on this day at this time, they're going to be swooping in there. And he decided that he wasn't going to be in the presence, but yeah, I'll let whatever happens at my properties with the people who are going to be there, even if it includes the children. But you didn't care enough about your children to give them a tip so that they wouldn't be there. But you want us to feel sorry because lasers were pointed, red beams were on their forehead, on their chest and back or wherever else. And they were in their shorts and T-shirts and not fully dressed in designer wear. Like, seriously, who cares? Because if it were not for his actions and living the type of life that he was living, they wouldn't be doing this. They don't do this to people's residences that they don't have a reason to believe that something is there and is going on. And listen, I'm not talking about the stories where they went to the wrong residence. That has happened, and that's not cool. And those people, they have the right to try to get some compensation and recompense from the departments because of the wrong information. Those people, unfortunately, have had nightmare situations happen to them. But this isn't about that. They weren't going to be going to the neighbor's next door's mansion to have this happen. They knew where they were going and they knew what they were looking for. And because of the type of lifestyle that he lives, they weren't just going to have one or two people show up at the door, knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell, saying, "Hey, we have a warrant here that we can come in and search the property. Is it okay if we come in?" No, not at all. Combs's protege, Brendan Paul, who has been described in court docs as the Bad Boy Records founder's alleged drug mule, was arrested for personal use of the coca and the Mary Jane, according to their source. But the idea that he's a drug mule is ridiculous. He was only arrested, and he has already been released. His arrest has nothing to do with anyone other than Brendan. Please. Yeah, he might be using the stuff too. I'm quite sure that he is, but I believe the litigation that was filed. I believe Rodney Jones's allegations, and that was his mule. Period. Combs was allegedly headed to the Bahamas to spend time with his twin daughters when the raid happened, and they're saying that he was detained at the airport while headed to the Bahamas with the twins. Flight data showed his private jet had landed in the Caribbean near Antigua on Monday morning, but the source told them that the plane was chartered by someone else. You know, like, this isn't no coincidence. He already had a trip planned with his twin daughters where they were just going to spend some time in the Bahamas. I don't believe that. I believe that he knew what was up. He was tipped off and he was trying to get up out of here. So now you've got Stevie J on, social media playing gospel music, saying that no weapons formed against Diddy and his sons are going to prosper. And I can't stand when people like this try to use God's word for their own benefit. It doesn't work. That's what's not going to work. That's what's not going to prosper. The word of God is not going to prosper for you because you're not even living the type of life for that to even apply to you. I can't stand it, but people are going to do what they're going to do. And so it's just no shock or surprise when it comes to stuff like that. But we know that he was also named in the litigation, not being sued, but Rodney Jones actually named him in the lawsuit to say that he watched some videos of Stevie J performing sexual acts with another man. That's what he said. And they showed a screenshot in the lawsuit, which, again, I have a link to in the description box if you want to look at it. If you want to try to decipher to see if that's really him or not, it's up to you. But I am not surprised by any of these things that are going on. Him selling Revolt. And it says to an anonymous buyer, this doesn't just happen like that. For you to be able to sell all your shares immediately to just some random person. No, they already had that set up. He already was tipped off. He knew what was about to happen. He knew what was about to land. And yeah, this is that. This is definitely it's definitely the year of revelations, receipts, and reaping. I'm definitely waiting to see what is going to be coming out next about this. But the people that are questioning or trying to defend in some way, I believe is disgusting. The Breakfast Club, they talked about it. They talked about it a little bit ignorantly, as well as Luke, who goes by Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew. He has something to say about it.
Puff, before Puff became super big like that, he a cool dude. I mean, all this going on with him, I feel sorry for him and his family, more so his kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
People got kids involved in this and, and social media is dangerous. You don't know, it's always two, three sides of a story.
Right. It's two sides of every story, man. Like and that's true. He made a major point. And you can't always believe everything you hear. There are two sides to every story.
Puff, before Puff became super big like that, he a cool dude. I mean, all this going on with him, You know, I feel sorry for him and his family, more so his kids. You know what I'm saying? People got kids involved in this, and you know, and social media is dangerous. You don't know. It's always two, three sides of a story.
Right. It's two sides of every story, man. Like and that's true. He made a major point, and you can't always believe everything you hear. There are two sides to every story.
You know, it's ignorant statements like that. I can't stand that line. There's always two sides to every story. Or when people say there's their side, there's the other side, and then there's the truth, as if no one can be believed and no one is actually speaking the truth. I don't agree with that logic. It really is illogical. Yeah, I know that there are a lot of people that lie, but not everyone is a liar. And people like Luke making statements like that, it's because that person has lived a lifestyle that has been pretty much free of morals, free of, real standards. And so when they see something like this happening to Diddy, not saying that they were doing the exact same things that he has been accused of, but maybe close to it, or maybe you're sitting there scratching your head wondering, is there anybody from my past that could come up and say that, I did some things that back then it might have been, I wouldn't even say acceptable, but accepted by the person or the persons that allowed you to do these things to them because they were trying to get close to the person or the lifestyle or the access or whatever. But thinking over the things, they decide today, you know what, that wasn't okay, and I want to say something about it. That's why I believe a lot of people like him come out and will sort of defend in some way. But I don't feel sorry for his children, because he's the one that put them in the position to have this stain on, not so much on their name, but on their legacy. Because the riches, I wouldn't even call it wealth, the riches that he has obtained over the years has pretty much been by a means of being dishonorable, filthy, and we already know all of the things that Cassie put out there about him, you know what I mean? And just living a reckless life of huge ego and all of that stuff is what ultimately allowed him to continue to be in this position. And I don't want to hear anything about the people that are over him or his mentors or who, because he's the one that could have made the decision to do differently. And yeah, usually it may mean that you have to walk away from some of the things that you desire and sacrifice. But no, you wanted to live this lavish lifestyle and you did the things that you did. And now you want to be the victim because Homeland Security came in and they were not acting like house cleaners, And then with the Breakfast Club and what they were saying, I'm just not here for it at all.
So federal agents raided Diddy's homes in L.A. and in Miami yesterday afternoon, and we have the news report.
Search warrant activities at both of Combs' homes are related to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. However, now agents with Homeland Security raided two homes belonging to Combs, one here in Miami Beach, the other in Los Angeles. And a neighbor tells me that about 30 to 40 law enforcement officers showed up to the house out here and carried out this search warrant.
You know what's crazy? That I have here that Diddy was not named as the focus of the investigation at this time. So why was they doing all that?
That's what I don't understand.
It's a lot going. It's like for a show.
That's what I said last night. I was thinking to myself, what do they know about this situation? Because if he's at the focus of the investigation, he wasn't the focus of the investigation to Homeland Security, but he definitely was the focus of the investigation to social media.
Yeah, he was.
It was a show. I mean, the way that they came air, land, and sea. They act like he was with the mob and they were going to have a gun battle and a gun shootout. We've never seen anything like that for alleged whatever it was, but they act like they were going for the mob.
But clearly they know something if they did all of that. So I'm just saying, what is the why is what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, they placed both of his sons, Justin Combs and King Combs, in handcuffs. Mm-hmm. TMZ also tracked Diddy's personal jet, Love Air LLC, and is currently on the ground in Antigua, which is in the Caribbean, which sparked rumors that Diddy was fleeing or whatever. But then TMZ posted like 2 hours after his homes were raided that he was just walking around on the phone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Did they have warrants for Diddy? They have warrants for nobody, right?
To arrest anybody?
Yeah.
No, because they would have been arrested. I guess they had just a warrant to look what they were... To
investigate.
Yeah, investigate what they were looking for.
And then they bothering Carisha online. I seen on X, somebody said, well, where Carisha at? Like, thousands of people reposted it. And she said, right here, what's up? But I'm just like, Carisha, you don't have to say nothing. Like, you don't. You really, really don't know. Like, don't say nothing, because F these people. You know what I mean?
It feel like we watching a TV show.
Yeah,
and like in the TV show just starting to get good.
It's continuing, yeah.
And we about to figure out what the hell's been going on.
So federal...
All right, we know that Diddy is a quote-unquote friend of the Breakfast Club. So they could have just reported the story. They didn't have to put their bias in there to make it seem like, well, what was the big deal? You know, like they were treating him like he was in the mob or something. Do you not understand what sex trafficking is? Like, it's serious. That is absolutely not a joke. And for them to just brush it off like, oh, no big deal. You know, they didn't have any warrants for anyone's arrest. They were just there looking for something. They're just so stupid. I don't even know who watches or listens to them. I don't. Clip like this is all I will get, because I absolutely refuse to listen to the garbage. But to make it seem like, oh, you know, they handcuffed the children. Well, do you know that one of those children was named in the lawsuit citing the sex trafficking? Yeah, Justin, the one that at one point many years ago, Diddy had a restaurant in Atlanta that was named after him that I heard got shut down for terrible service. And that was a long time ago. That was before the days of the pandemic, when restaurant service just went downhill. Okay. But yeah. So before being detained by federal agents, Sean Diddy Combs' oldest son, Justin Combs, was named in a lawsuit against his father that mentions sex trafficking. According to court documents obtained by Us Weekly, Justin, 29, okay, so we're not talking about a 12-year-old, is one of the defendants alongside Diddy, 54, in an amended complaint brought on by music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones. In the new docs, the phrase sex trafficking is mentioned 50 times. Justin was detained alongside his younger brother, King Combs, 25, following the search of the California property. I don't know much about Diddy's children, I'll be honest with you. I see the pictures from time to time. I didn't know his son was named King. I really didn't. I thought, I don't know. I did not know his son was named King. Anyway, following the search of the California property. So for them to just act like these were harmless little children, a 29-year-old and a 25-year-old, yeah, they may be his kids, his children. I don't care. You know, you could be 80 and your mama could be 100. Of course, you'll always be your mama's child, but you're not a child. You are an adult. Those are adults. So these are not little helpless children that are 12 and 15 years old that they had hemmed up in some handcuffs. So spare us the violins with, it wasn't that big of a deal. Why did they do all of this? This was definitely for show. They had the helicopters. They had Homeland Security. They had this. They had that. But they could have just reported the story and moved on. But because they are friends of Diddy, then they wanted to try to put a little spin on it to make it seem like they're caping for him in some way. This is something, especially DJ Envy, with all the stuff that he has been involved in, with all the fraud and the lawsuits and the scams with real estate and all of that. and investments, he should steer clear of. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Guys, thanks so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.